You know that friend who always says, I'm fine? The one who listens to everyone's problems but never talks about their own? The one who'll help you move apartments at 6 a.m. but won't tell you they're going through a breakup? Yeah, that friend isn't cold. They're protecting something. If you're someone who keeps your emotions locked down tight, who processes everything internally, who would rather feel pain alone than risk being vulnerable, welcome. You're about to feel very seen. And today, we're breaking down the psychology of people who don't share their feelings, the ones society calls emotionally unavailable, but science calls something else entirely. Here's the thing. Emotional expression isn't universal. Some people process feelings out loud. They need to talk, to vent, to be heard. But others process internally. Their emotions are like background code running in a computer. You can't see it, but it's happening. Constantly. And forcing them to share before they're ready doesn't help. It actually shuts them down further. Psychologists call this emotional regulation style. Some people are externalizers. They feel better after talking about what's bothering them. Others are internalizers. They need time, space, and silence to sort through the noise in their head. It's not coldness or emotional immaturity. It's just how their nervous system processes stress. But there's more going on than just personality differences. Some people don't share their feelings because they learned early on that their emotions weren't safe. Maybe they grew up in a household where feelings were dismissed. Stop crying or I'll give you something to cry about. You're being dramatic. Why are you always so sensitive? So they adapted. They learned to bottle it up, to seem strong, to need no one. And now, as adults, vulnerability feels like danger, not connection. Attachment theory explains this perfectly. If you were raised by emotionally unavailable caregivers, if your tears were met with frustration instead of comfort, you likely developed an avoidant attachment style. You learned that showing feelings leads to rejection or punishment, so you stopped showing them. And that survival strategy you built as a kid, it's still running the show now, even when it doesn't serve you anymore. Here's something wild. Studies show that people who suppress their emotions don't actually feel less. They just hide it better. The body still responds. Heart rate spikes, cortisol floods the system, muscles tense up. But they've trained themselves to look calm on the outside while chaos runs underneath. It's exhausting. And over time, it leads to chronic stress, anxiety, even physical health problems. The emotions don't disappear, they just go underground. And let's be honest, society has weird double standards about emotional expression. Men who don't share feelings are called strong, stoic, real men. But they're also 3 times more likely to die by suicide because no one taught them it's okay to not be okay. Women who don't share feelings are called cold, distant, emotionally unavailable. But they're often just protecting themselves from being labeled too much when they do open up. So people learn to stay quiet, because either way, there's judgment. Now, some people don't share feelings for a different reason. They genuinely don't trust others with that kind of access. Maybe they've been betrayed before, told someone their deepest fear and had it used against them later, or opened up about their struggles only to have it spread like gossip. So they made a decision. Never again. And now, their inner world is a fortress. You can get close, but never all the way in. Psychologists call this protective self-disclosure. You share enough to seem normal, to maintain relationships, but never the real stuff. Never the things that could hurt you if weaponized. And honestly, that's not paranoia, that's pattern recognition. If you've been burned before, guarding your heart isn't dysfunction, it's survival. But here's the tricky part. There's a difference between processing emotions privately and avoiding them entirely. One is healthy autonomy. The other is emotional suppression. And suppression doesn't work long term. Eventually, the feelings find a way out. Maybe through irritability, maybe through physical symptoms, headaches, stomach issues, insomnia, or maybe through a sudden breakdown that feels like it came out of nowhere, but really, it's been building for years. So it's important to ask yourself, do you not share because you genuinely prefer to work through things alone, or because sharing feels terrifying? Because one is self-sufficiency, the other is self-protection that's become self-sabotage. But for those who truly prefer emotional privacy, who process deeply but internally, who don't need constant validation or reassurance, they're not emotionally stunted, they're just emotionally independent. They know their feelings are their responsibility. They don't outsource their inner world to others. And there's actually something powerful about that. Psychologists say this is called high emotional autonomy. These people don't avoid feelings, they just don't perform them. They experience emotions fully, process them internally, and move forward without needing an audience. Their stillness isn't numbness, it's control. And in a world that demands constant emotional transparency, that kind of privacy feels radical. Here's what most people don't understand. Not sharing your feelings doesn't mean you don't have deep relationships. It just means your depth looks different. You show love through actions, not words. Through showing up, through reliability, through quiet consistency. You might not say I love you easily, but you'll drive 3 hours to help someone move. You won't cry on someone's shoulder, but you'll stay up all night researching solutions to their problem. Your care is practical, not performative. And honestly, some people are uncomfortable with that. They need verbal affirmation. They need emotional display. And when you don't give it, they assume you don't care. But you do. You just care differently. And that's not wrong. It's just misunderstood. Now, here's the shadow side. If you never share your feelings, you risk becoming emotionally isolated. You risk building walls so high that even people who genuinely care about you can't reach you. You risk carrying burdens alone that would be lighter if shared. And you risk missing out on the kind of intimacy that only comes from being truly seen, not just surface-level known. Because here's the hard truth. Vulnerability isn't weakness. It's the birthplace of connection. And yes, it's risky. Yes, people can hurt you, but they can also hold you, understand you, love you in ways you didn't know you needed. And if you never let anyone in, you'll never know what that feels like. So if you're someone who keeps everything inside, who listens more than you share, who would rather suffer in silence than burden anyone, you're not broken. But maybe, just maybe, you don't have to carry it all alone. Not because you can't, but because you don't have to. You've spent so long being the strong one, the reliable one, the one who has it all together. And that's admirable, it really is. But strength isn't just about holding it in. Sometimes it's about knowing when to let it out. It's about choosing the right people, the safe people, and giving them a chance to see the real you, not the version you've carefully constructed for survival, but the messy, uncertain, deeply feeling human underneath. Because that version deserves to be known too. And the right people won't run from it. They'll move closer. If this video resonated with you, do me a favor. Hit that like button. Share this with someone who needs to hear it, especially that friend who always says they're fine when they're clearly not. And subscribe to this channel if you want more raw psychology that actually explains why you are the way you are. This is the stuff they don't teach you in school, the patterns running underneath everything you do. Tell me in the comments, do you struggle to share your feelings, or do you think emotional privacy is underrated? I want to hear your thoughts. And listen, if this video hit home, the next one is going to blow your mind. We're flipping the script completely. We're diving into the psychology of people who overshare their feelings. You know the type. The ones who trauma dump on the first date. The ones whose Instagram stories are a real-time emotional diary. The ones who tell strangers their deepest secrets. What's really going on there? Is it authenticity, or is it something darker? Click that next video. You're about to understand the opposite end of this spectrum, and trust me, it's just as complicated. Let's go.